Out here in the cold void, missiles are like diamonds. They're valuable and scarce, and you won't be able to refill your cells under most circumstances. Unless you want to wind up with empty launchers while your enemy is fully stocked, you'll need to learn how and when to use them. You can always come back here to practice with missiles, but I can also give you a rundown of what you can throw downrange. You want to take the reins and practice, or would you like me to guide you through it? I've got plenty of time. Sounds good. Let's get you familiar. The enemy ships in this scenario won't shoot back at your ships, but they are all equipped with different types of point defenses, so it won't be as easy to hit them as last time. There are 5 enemy ships in the battle space, but we can only see 3 of them right now. I've disabled your drives for this, as you'll get the most training out of your current position. No cheating and all that. We'll start by firing 2 command-guided missiles, the Hurricanes, from the ANS Small Beginnings at the group of 2 ships directly ahead of us. This is the same as during the weapons trial, except now we're going to test the target's defensive capability. As a side note, you can track all missiles with your camera by selecting them, or just hover over them with your mouse and hitting the F key.
Standing by. Missile away.
Don't worry if the missiles get shot down on their way in. Targets have their point defenses on the ventral side of the ships, and since we're below the targets, we're at a disadvantage. We could ascend and take the elevated position on the targets, but trust me when I say that they can roll their ships to cover the angle much faster than we can get into a more advantageous position. You may recall from the weapons trial that I mentioned you can plot complex paths for certain missiles to follow. We're going to work up some clever missile strikes. The easiest way to lay in missile paths is in the tactical view. Toggle it with the spacebar and keep it up. We'll need the extra space. In the weapons trial, we were always using track mode, and in one case visual mode, to target our weapons. Some weapons, and especially missiles, also have a position mode that lets us directly choose points in space to shoot at. Because the Hurricane missiles rely on a constant sensor track from their launching ship, they can't be shot at positions. So let's switch over to the Dusty Tome, which is carrying Thunderheads. To target the weapons in position mode, open the action menu by right-clicking in open space. Don't right-click on... Open the weapons list by clicking the Weps or Weapons button on the right side of the action menu. From the list, select the SGM-206 Thunderhead, but don't confirm a launch order just yet. You'll recognize the sphere widget from when we used it briefly in some of the previous trials, but we're going to get a lot of mileage out of it now. There are a few things to notice. The first is the red cone at the cursor location. This represents the missile's seeker field of view. When the missile reaches its last waypoint, its seeker will activate, and any target in that cone will be locked on by the missile. It's important to remember that the missile's seeker and warhead are inactive until it reaches the last waypoint. Because of this, it's important to leave space between where you place the last waypoint and the intended target. A good buffer will allow the missile to correct its course and establish a good path to intercept the target. The next thing you'll notice is the dotted lines and the circles projected onto the surface of the sphere. These are present because we're currently holding several enemy tracks on our sensors. It's very easy to get fooled by perspective in 3D space. These tracks are projected onto the sphere, so you have a good point of reference for the direction the track's relative to your cursor. The most effective way to aim at your target correctly is to look at its projection on the sphere, not the target itself. Before we get to the complicated stuff, just try firing a single missile at the group of 2 ships by positioning the cursor inside one of their projected circles and clicking the left mouse button.
Firing missiles.
Unless you're extremely lucky, this missile will likely be shot down on its way in. Point defenses are no joke. Now let's use cruise missiles to their full advantage by laying a path that attacks these ships from the top, where they have no point defense coverage. Start up another missile order, and I'll walk you through creating a path and taking multiple shots.
Awaiting your orders.
We're going to arrange a top-down attack using Thunderhead missiles. Remember to be in the tactical view to get the most information and see the projected lines. In order to help you out for this one, I'll place markers for the waypoints we'll use. You place waypoints just how you would with ships. Position the cursor in the vicinity of waypoint 1, and hold the left shift key while clicking the left mouse button to add the waypoint. Don't worry about being exact, anywhere in the vicinity will work. Now do the same for waypoint 2. If you find it helpful, you can lay in your own path to reach the elevation we need to land a good hit. Now comes the tricky part. We want to fire 4 missiles down on top of these ships. In order to do so, position the target circle so it's facing the targets. Then, hold left control to draw the radius out until it's about halfway between your last waypoint and the target. Remember to give some relief space between the selected position and the target, so the seeker has time to activate. Take your time, and remember to reference your cursor against the projected circles, not the tracks themselves. When you're ready to start placing shots, hold the left Alt key and click the left mouse button. 1 missile will be fired per click when the order is finally issued. I recommend spreading the shots out in a cone a few degrees across, so the salvo has better odds of finding the target. An added benefit of this is that when missiles acquire a target, they'll curve back in on a trajectory that naturally confuses any point defenses they may encounter. To issue the order, either click the left mouse button with the left Alt key released, or press the Enter key if you have queued up exactly the number of missiles you want. We'll wait till you score a hit on one of these 2 ships before proceeding. Don't worry if you don't get any. Now we're talking. Attacking ships from top and bottom limits the number of mounts that can defend against the attack. It also has the added benefit of increasing the surface area of the vital internal components which are exposed to your fire, meaning more damage is more likely to be done once the missile connects. I'll be honest, Commander, I made you do this one the hard way so you could get some practice with the sphere widget on a target you could see. You can also accomplish the same thing using target reference points, which you can find under the signal menu as the TRP button. We won't do it now, but feel free to practice on your own later. It'll allow you to create a single waypoint for some missiles to travel via when firing on a track, but keep in mind that not all missiles support this. Let's move on to another type of missile. The A&S Fatal Spell is carrying a few SGM-233 Gale semi-active guided missiles. Semi-active missiles have a passive seeker and require an illuminator to home in on a target. Think of this like a radar flashlight. The illuminating signal can be provided by any ship, not just the ship that launched the missile, but that signal must be painted on a target for a missile to home in on it. Without it, the missile is just an expensive dud. The benefit of semi-active missiles is that they are significantly harder to jam or decoy, because a ship can output much more energy than a missile can. Illuminators can be found in the action menu under the EW weapon list on the right-hand side. Illuminate a target.
Aye, aye.
Your illuminator has a 90-second firing time before it turns off so the amplifiers can cool down. You can see its cone of effect in the tactical. Before it cools down, fire 4 Gale missiles at the target you have illuminated.
Solution locked in.
Remember, Remember, if the illumination signal turns off before the missiles arrive, they will lose tracking and probably miss their target. They'll continue in their current direction, so stationary targets may be struck, but at this point, it's just luck. Illuminators also require a direct line of sight to their target. Ships obscured by asteroids won't be painted. Now let's get some more practice with using waypoint paths. There are 2 more enemy ships hiding in the radar shadows of the nearby asteroids, meaning we can't see them with our own ships. Another benefit of cruise missiles and their ability to follow paths is that you can shoot at targets you suspect to be in the area but do not hold a track on. This is good for hitting ships that have retreated behind an asteroid or other obstacle hiding from. Use the thunderheads on any of the ships to hit the target hiding near the point I've indicated. Remember to use the tactical view to give yourself the best perspective, and lay in your path so the missiles will turn on their seekers before reaching the target. They'll need time and space to identify a target. While hiding behind asteroids can help you remain hidden from the enemy, it also gives the attacker an advantage. Cover can be a double-edged sword at the worst of times. By hugging the asteroid closely with your missile's flight paths, you can give the point defenses less time to react before they detect the threats. That means less distance the missiles have to travel through defensive fire.
Target confirmed. Missile away.
Good strike! There's one more ship hiding up near Point Boxer, above the large asteroid. For this one, I'll hide the marker after a few seconds, so get a good feel for where it is. This will be your hardest shot yet, so make me proud.
Send traffic. Missile away.
Excellent work, Commander. That does it for your advanced missile ops. You can come back whenever you feel you need practice. Obviously, I can go through all of this again, but I think you have it under control. I do recommend practicing the missile paths. When you lay these in accurately and quickly in the midst of battle, you'll be a serious threat in the battle space.
What are our orders?
I'll see you back at the academy.